Hello and welcome to the roundtable discussion with sponsors of the Widthwise Report 2023. Earlier this year, Image Reports conducted its 16th annual Widthwise survey of UK-based PSPs in the digital large format inkjet sector. We had 176 responses from PSPs, allowing us to publish our Widthwise report in the summer on how the sector was feeling and performing. Today, we're getting a supplier's perspective. So, hello there. Can I just ask you both to introduce yourselves to everyone watching, and then we'll get into the questions. Jane, can I start with you, please?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thanks, Leslie. My name is Jane Rickson. I work for HP in the large format sector of the business, primarily focusing on the HP latex technology. The division I work for also covers the design jet, which is primarily indoor AEC and photographic and page-wide products. But my focus is primarily on the latex products. I've been with HP for 20 years in various roles, worked for HP Indigo, always in the graphics sector.
Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie. Yeah, my name's Paul Fitch. I'm head of inkjet for the UK and Ireland for AGFA, looking after the full portfolio of machines. I've been with AGFA now for just coming up to 6 years, so fairly new in the business. Yeah.
Compared to some of us. Okay.
Not the industry, just AGFA.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here goes. Well, let's start with investment levels, because to do so otherwise we'd just be ignoring the elephant in the room, quite frankly. Our data show that spend on new kit and systems across the UK professional large format print sector had somewhat flatlined. So how are you responding to that? I mean, Paul, do you want to start?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I have to say that we'll go against the trend or the information that you've got there. And we're seeing very good growth here in the UK this year, UK and Ireland, should I say, with our full portfolio of products. Obviously, depending on the type of people that responded to your survey in terms of what they're looking in terms of investment levels. We obviously with AGFA we have a full portfolio of products ranging from entry level to high volume, and we're seeing a good spread of products moving into the UK. So yeah, it's been a good year so far.
Quite buoyant for you.
Absolutely, yeah. I think generally the industry, the sign and display, should we say, it has been fairly buoyant.
Yeah. Yeah. Jane, what's the situation with investment levels from your perspective?
I echo what Paul said. We've probably had one of our best years in this sector. I think there was people coming out of COVID. They hadn't invested during COVID, and they started to invest. We are aware, I'd say, on the maybe entry-level part of the business, I'd say that is more challenging. We launched a printer series last month, the 630 series. And that's very much addressed at the smaller kind of PSP to bring the latex technology to the smaller businesses. So we are trying to react to the market as well. But I would echo what Paul said. We actually had a very good year in terms of investment for the technology.
Good. Because staying with sort of technology for a little bit in terms of investment, excuse me. From the 176 responses that we got, basically a lot of the print chiefs, what they think of as the Internet of Things, automation, AI, remote diagnostics, etc. Only 7% said they would be investing in such areas. And yet, improving workflow and efficiencies was one of the key reasons they had behind the technological investment they would be making. So I'm just wondering, how are you handling what's obviously quite a challenging dichotomy there of what people understand to be, I suppose, Internet of Things and sort of, especially from the software perspective, how you go ahead with automation, etc. How are you managing to get the story across? Jane, do you want to kick off on that one?
Yeah, I mean, HP has a kind of overall platform, which is PrintOS. And it is available free of charge with the printers. So we launched, when the 630 was launched last month, we actually introduced it's a lovely catchy title, PrintOS Design and E-commerce. So basically it's bringing web to print to the companies who maybe can't afford to invest in their own web to print software. Because what we had in the past was we had something where you could design and you could actually print the product, but you couldn't have the e-commerce side, the web shop behind it. So we've actually brought out a product that is available now to users of the devices. So it's actually there as long as they've got either a warranty or a service plan, they have access to this. There's also in there HP Learn, so you can teach, the operators can learn on the job. Basically, we're really trying to bring as much as possible into the technology of the printer. And it's like, for small businesses, it's difficult to have like a continuous learning program. Yeah. So it's a big investment. So what we're really trying to do is get more out of the device that you've already got. Know what you've printed, how much it cost you to print, look at what you're printing when you're not on site. So we're really trying to build as much technology into the devices, so you're basically getting more for your money.
Yeah. Similar situation over at Agfa, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, look, Agfa have always been at the forefront of automation, going back with Agfa Offset in the world of commercial print, and our engines are driven by a Santi workflow, which is basically the baby brother of Apogee. Okay. And with that, it's about speeding up the pre-press department. So the print engine is running all the time, right? So when the machine's not running, you're not making money. So we really push our workflow side of things. Obviously, bolted onto that, we've had web to print storefront for many years now to bring in that e-commerce offering to the end user. I think with e-commerce, it's been around for many years. There's there's companies that have invested heavily, and there's some companies that are dipping their toe in the water. Like Jane said, it's a heavy investment, and you've got to have the buy-in for the end user as well to engage in that side of things. But yeah, Agfa are certainly pushing the automation to drive digital print engines.
Yeah. Over 90% of those PSPs we polled put energy costs in one of their top 3 concerns for 2023 and beyond. So I've got to ask you, what are you doing to reduce energy consumption, of your offerings? Do you want to kick off, Jane?
Yeah, I think HP launch, I'll talk specifically about latex first, because, we talk about elephants in the room, and then I'll talk about the other products in the portfolio. So HP went kind of against the market 15 years ago by bringing out this water-based technology, moving away from UV and solvent. So we basically designed a technology with the environment in mind, without any hazardous components and toxic components in the ink, water-based ink. Now, with that, we need heat to evaporate the water and to cure the latex pigments. So that is, potentially more energy or less energy efficient than certain other technologies. What I would say is that HP have worked really, really hard, because we know it's a complex area and it's a concern to end customers. So we started generation 1 in 15 years ago now, and we're now on generation 4. So what people may not know is actually we've reduced the energy consumption by 40% since we brought out the first technology.
It's 40%, yeah.
It's 40%. So, and also we've put in things like when the printer isn't being used, it can go into a low power mode. That's pretty much across all the devices. And also you can schedule things like, there's automatic maintenance to be done. You can schedule it to be done overnight. So there's loads of things that we're doing. Plus it's about when is the energy really being used? So sometimes, depending on how you portray a figure, you can show a negative or a positive. But I think the main thing is we're very aware of it, and we're always doing our best to be as efficient for the customer. And the energy consumption has reduced by 40% over that time.
Good. Paul, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So look, energy costs, energy increases are there. Agfa, we moved away from traditional bulb technology in our Annapurna and Tauro portfolio probably around about 6 years ago. So we're doing as much as we can to the point where we can take it no further with LED technology, which is reducing the energy consumption by a huge amount. Yeah. There's only so far you can go with LED, right? Until you start seeing issues with curing. So I think Agfa, where we are now with our LED machines, is the reduction in power is great versus traditional bulb technology. Yeah, and it's where do we take it into the future with our higher volume machines? Which we're constantly looking at. So very conscious of the fact that we need to prove the overall energy consumption is a lot lower.
It's actually
ongoing task.
Yeah, it's interesting, Leslie. It's because it's a huge question.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be on a round table at Downing Street a few months ago,
I
and
remember.
it was a mixture of paper and print suppliers. And one of the print companies that was there was saying that he's having to run a press on a diesel generator because there isn't the energy infrastructure around where they are to put enough power into the building to actually run a press. So it's a huge question. And I don't think it's really about the power consumption of a specific machine. It's more about how our government are addressing the whole energy crisis. It's a much bigger question, I think.
Absolutely, and it's something that we're asking the PSPs actually in the round table with them as well. Looking ahead, the other thing that was a major worry for a lot of people were the cost of supplies. I think it was 60% flagged up that was a major issue for them. I mean, obviously, as companies, as a supplier of consumables as well as kit, can you offer any kind of reassurance on that front? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's out there. Increases are everywhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As a business, we can always just try and hold back on anything, in terms of passing on those costs. But it gets to the point where we have to maintain a level. We're constantly looking to improve it, but it's not just us as a manufacturer, it's other manufacturers inside and outside of the print industry that are seeing these increases in costs.
Do you think things are getting better or worse from that perspective?
I think they're probably stable, right? And we hope that we can reduce it, but so this is our supplier to Agfa. Sometimes this is out of our hands, right?
Yeah. Well, what are you seeing, Jane?
Yeah, I think, we're all coming from the same space. We're manufacturing companies that have to move equipment around the world, and everybody knows that is increasingly expensive. All I can say from a HP perspective is we're such a wide-ranging company, the bigger HP. We've got so many products in so many different areas that on the large format side, we've actually at the moment, we've handled those increases ourselves. So we haven't passed on the increases that we've found on our mid-volume products, whether it's the hardware or the supplies. We actually haven't increased those prices. Now, who knows what the future holds, but where we can, we'll absorb it. But like Paul says, you potentially can't do that forever. We do also try and work with some of the bigger companies to offer, if dependent on the volume, we'll look to offer a program for them to keep their costs stable. And the other area is, recycling. We offer a free of charge recycling program, so that again, if people need to be able to prove that they are recycling and having that green commitment, then HP do that for them free of charge.
Okay. I mean, the consensus among PSPs, I think, is that all of the major technological developments in wide format are sort of behind us. And obviously, we've got Fespa Global coming up in the spring, and then we've got Drupa. So I was just wondering, do you envisage any really transformational technological changes and new technologies emerging in 2024? Do you want to kick off, Jane?
I think it's always difficult because as any big tech company, everything is under non-disclosure.
I know.
I think, I've worked for HP, as you know, for a long time, and I'm really proud of the fact that they went against the market almost. And I think one of the things that I love is Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard, who founded the company, 80-something years ago now, I think about 84 years ago now, I think HP was founded. They always said that the biggest competitive advantage was to do the right thing at the worst time. So in terms of a transformational technology, I think latex, which is really a resin-based technology, a pigment-based technology, an acrylic rather than latex as a naturally occurring substance. For me, our hands are tied completely behind our back because if something's going to be launched, it's always under non-disclosure until the date of the launch.
I was just thinking across the industry in general. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be able to talk about specific products, but I'm just thinking across the industry in general. Do you feel that there are still areas where there is scope, let's say, for major technological development?
I do think there's still scope. I think with the world as it is at the moment, and having come through COVID and it's everywhere again at the moment, I think it's consolidation that's happening at the moment, getting more out of a device that you've already got. Maybe, like you said, Leslie, earlier, some people aren't looking to invest now. So it's maybe allowing them. We do a lot of things where with firmware, we upgrade a printer that somebody already has. So I think, that's something that's happening, is maybe getting more out of a device and being able to do more and do more applications with the device that you've got. I don't know what you think, Paul.
Yeah, no, I'd agree as well. People are looking to try and leverage a few more years out of their existing technology. And as a business, as AGFA, as what Jane said, there's stuff that we can talk about, there's stuff that we can't. But there also has to be a need. Yeah, there also has to be a need in the market, right, for this new technology as well. And AGFA are constantly striving for, whether it's building upon the existing platform or coming with something brand new to the market space, that we'll have to wait for Fespa next year to see what happens there. But yeah, for sure, there's room for new technology in the market.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you. I mean, is there anything in sort of summation that you would like to say about where you think the direction is going in the marketplace in the UK specifically, in the UK marketplace for large format in the next sort of couple of years? Are there any specific trends or developments that you want to flag up? I mean, to be honest, if there isn't and your hands are tied at them, I completely understand. But while I have you both, I'll ask the question. What do you think, Jane? Is there sort of a message to market from a perspective?
Well, I think the key is coming back to what you pretty much started with, which is this is green, is sustainable, is it actually important to people? We obviously do our own research into that. And I think the research we did in 2022 said, I think 81% of the PSPs we spoke to said that it was sustainability, and sustainability is a massive area. It's not about a water-based ink or whatever. It's much, much bigger than that. One of our customers, they actually do two quotes now. They do a quote where it is fully recycled, full, what happens end of life. And then they do a standard quote. And it's interesting, about 50-50. So even though it's a challenging economic period at the moment for everybody, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, everybody's challenged on the economics at the moment, that's still 50-50 between doing a fully end of life recyclable, not going to landfill program versus a standard program, which I think is positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got anything to add in on that front, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously sustainability is key moving forward, right? We've got products that we were going to release. I think it's out there with regards to the single pass speed set, which will be water-based technology. But yeah, outside of machine manufacturing, it's about the actual materials that are going onto the machines as well, to bring that whole sustainability, environmentally aspect to life, right? So that is very much key moving forward. And as a business, right, it's not just about what we can produce for sustainability, but it's actually as a business and how we approach it as a business right the way through our manufacturing plant as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is. I think just one quick, because I think the other thing that, again, it's an elephant in the room, in my opinion, is the way that the country deals with waste. So, and recycling. I mean, it's interesting, Fespa are doing it, IPIA are doing it, BPI. Everybody seems to be trying to do their bit, but we're not joined up. No. Print as a sector doesn't even have, there isn't such a thing as print waste, for example. It hasn't got its own classification. And I think there's a huge amount of work that we need to do together, as whether it's a manufacturer, whether it's with a trade body, to make government aware that I think we're something like the 5th biggest nation in the world for producing print. We're a manufacturing business in the UK, and there aren't that many manufacturing businesses left. So I think for my message would be from HP is we have to work together as an industry to show government that we're innovative, we're technologically advanced, and to bring young people in, because we run an intern program. So we've got 3 interns in our business at the moment. They're in their 3rd year at uni, but they're spending the year in business. They've had their eyes opened. They would never have looked at print. They don't see print.
No,
and I think that's the big thing, is bringing young people in and making the government understand that this is actually an exciting, a vibrant, a technologically advanced industry. They don't seem to know.
It's a conversation we've had for many, many years, I think, in print, is that print almost needs a rebrand. It needs almost a different name, because people's perception of what print is and what the industry actually is are 2 completely different things, unless you're already in the industry,
Exactly right. But I would say, as exactly what Jane says, we need to start bringing the younger generation into this industry, because it is a great industry. And I think slowly but surely we are seeing it as we visit our customers. I think they're more engaged in the traditional apprenticeship models now, and working with the likes of the BPIF, etc. That we are slowly seeing a younger generation come back in, but for sure, probably not as many as we want.
Are you in any way involved in any kind of initiatives, should I say, sort of group initiatives in the industry to get career possibilities in front of the next generation? I don't mean just going as a company to a careers roadshow or whatever, but have you been involved in any discussions, about doing this sort of almost, national rebrand of print, to make sure that the industry, as opposed to individual companies, present possibilities to youngsters? Has that happened? Have you had any conversations with anyone about that kind of thing?
I have them all the time. I am probably one of the most collaborative people. So
you've been with the IPIA, haven't you?
Yeah, and I was on with BPIF yesterday. We as HP large format, and I'm talking, and also I'm trying to bring Indigo into the they're starting to come into the conversations. And I think
well, that's part of the problem, isn't it? We are an industry. We're not just an amalgam of different sectors, which I think has probably been quite a lot of the problem, hasn't it? The sectors may have had their individual voices, but not everybody sees the industry as a whole, do they?
Yeah, and I'm happy to sit on any panel with, and in terms of, so Paul and I are competitors. We're all trying to win business for our organisations, but what we need to be doing is making the market bigger.
Yeah.
It's not about, a deal here and a deal there. Yes, of course, if we lose to Agfa, I'll be very upset. And if he loses to HP, he'll be very upset. However, what we should be doing is genuinely trying to make the market bigger for all of us.
Yeah, there's a bigger picture, right? So.
Yeah. Well, look, it's really a pleasure talking to you as always. No doubt I'll
nice to see you face to face one of these days, Leslie.
No doubt I'll be rattling your cages again before the day's out. But thank you very much for taking part in the discussion. It's much appreciated. And just to tell anybody watching this, in January, we'll be starting off next year's Widthwise survey all over again. So if anybody's got any desperate questions to put to suppliers, please let me know. And in the meantime, obviously, the report from this year can be downloaded on the website.